turning geek speak to street speak. This is Tech Talk with Mark Saltzman on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk. If this is the first time you're tuning in, Tech Talk is a plain English guide to the latest and greatest in technology. So we have a great show for you tonight with very different topics and guests spread out throughout the hour. And in a few minutes from now, we're going to talk about creating a will. Do you have one? A better question might be, how on earth is this tech-related, Mark? Well, you're likely using the internet for things like online shopping and online banking, so why not online will creation? Perhaps not surprisingly, there are a few services that offer this today, including one called Will-O-Matic. It's a Toronto-based do-it-yourself internet service. Given the fact Canada's population is aging and we're turning to the internet more than ever for various services, I thought I'd devote some time to this today. So after 5:15, we'll catch up with lawyer Michael Karabash about the product, including who it's for, how it works, and the benefits and drawbacks compared to an in-person visit to a lawyer to create your will. So whether you're thinking about creating your first will or updating your existing will, why pay up to $400 for a simple will from a lawyer? Thanks to the web and a site called dynamiclegalforms.com, you can do it yourself quickly and easily for as low as $64. Joining us to tell us more about Will-O-Matic is this cross-section between a legal service and technology. We're joined on the line by Michael Karabash from dynamiclegalforms.com. Welcome to Tech Talk, Michael.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me on Tech Talk.
Sorry for that little flumble of an introduction there. I'm happy to have you back on the show, Michael. I interviewed you. I looked at my notes. The first time we talked on Tech Talk when it aired on CFRB in Toronto was more than 5 years ago. So great to see you're still doing well and that we've kept up over the years.
Yeah, and things have evolved a lot since we first started.
Yeah, great. So let's jump right in, Michael. Let's talk, what is Will-O-Matic?
The Will-O-Matic is like TurboTax, but for making a will. You essentially go to our website, dynamiclegalforms.com, you create an account, and you go through a very comprehensive online questionnaire. At the end of the questionnaire, you can then generate a PDF will to download, review, and print off. And there's a few bonuses that come with the will, like a free ebook and free edits for a year. And since we launched it in 2012, we've sold about 20,000 Will-O-Matic licenses in Canada.
And it's a very simple process, right? Because a lot of our listeners right now are going, well, look, I'm not tech savvy here, and I know this is an online sort of question and answer sort of process, but is it difficult to try out?
Wills are a very complicated document and very complex area of law. So what we've done is taken a very complicated thing and tried to simplify it through yes or no, option one, option two, and fill in the blank type questions. It's really hard to mess up, and we did that, but we didn't sacrifice comprehensiveness or flexibility in the questionnaire. So yes, I think it is the simplest way to create a simple will online.
On average, how long, Michael, would it take to fill out the Will-O-Matic on the website dynamiclegalforms.com?
If you had all of your information, such as the names of all your beneficiaries or the name of the person or persons you want to represent your estate when you pass away, if you know exactly what you want to do in terms of gifting property or real estate or cash, then it shouldn't take you more than half an hour to go through. And, you don't have to do it all in one shot. You can always sign out and then just sign in, hit continue, and just keep going from where you left off. And you still have an option, actually, after you're done, to come back and edit. And you can edit for a year after you go through it the first time.
We're joined on the line by Michael Karabash. He is with dynamiclegalforms.com to tell us about a product called Will-O-Matic, where you create and edit your own will online. Welcome back to the program, Michael.
Thanks, Mark.
So tell us why do most people go to a lawyer to have their will drafted? Why aren't we seeing more of these DIY solutions out there?
I think most people think that the DIY options are deficient, won't be valid, and are worried that leaving behind all their wealth and assets to their children may not be followed through. So there's a reluctance to use DIY products. But I think that as the Will-O-Matic becomes more popular and maybe some other competitors start to pick up on what I've been up to, it'll become more commonly accepted that, hey, these things are out there and there are good options in terms of making your own will. And you don't have to spend the $400 on a lawyer.
So by spending as low as, is it $64 to start, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so by doing it this way, by answering this sort of Q&A, this questionnaire, if you will, on a website, what do you do when it's done? And is it as legally binding, I'm using that phrase, as much as it would be as going to a lawyer to have someone else draft it up for you?
So in terms of when you finish the questionnaire, you download the PDF, you read through it, review it, make sure all of your wishes are properly expressed, and then on the last 2 pages are actually signing instructions, and you need to follow those signing instructions to the T, because a lot of ways in which wills are not enforced is because they're not signed and witnessed properly. So there's some mandatory instructions at the end. You got to follow it in terms of signing before witnesses and having them sign in front of you. And then what you do with your will is we suggest you keep it in a safe place, preferably a fireproof box, and let your family know that you've gone ahead and made a will, and let your estate trustee, the person responsible for administering your estate, know where it is and have access to it. Now, in terms of whether or not it's legally binding, no one can guarantee if a will is legally binding, even if you had it prepared by a lawyer. People do challenge wills, for example, if they're left out, if the will wasn't signed or witnessed properly, if there were changes made after the will was executed and those changes were not done properly. And unfortunately, the only surefire way to find out if a will is valid is to have it challenged in court and for a judge to rule on it. And no one really wants to go through that and leave that as their legacy. So what we do to minimize the risk is to educate people as much as possible as to the different ways in which wills can be challenged, and to make sure that they're educated so that they can avoid those things. And one example, what I mentioned earlier, is just entering into the will properly, signing it in the presence of witnesses who are appropriate witnesses and having them sign in your presence, and things like that. And we educate users throughout the questionnaire, but we also give them a very comprehensive ebook that talks about the various laws in their province and the ways in which wills are valid and enforceable. So assuming that you follow what's all written, then you should create less opportunities for your will to be challenged.
All right. And then finally, for our listeners who are interested in taking a look, the website is dynamiclegalforms.com, and then you simply click on the 2014 Will-O-Matic to get started. Is that right?
That's right.
All right, Michael, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Very informative. Michael Karabash, he is a lawyer, and he is with dynamiclegalforms.com to tell us about the Will-O-Matic. Very cool stuff.